Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to do some quick mic checks again. Let's see. Zoom. I think everything should be pretty good there. Checking over on YouTube and Facebook. And then, okay, Instagram is working. Hallelujah. I was worried about that one. So, welcome tonight. If this is your first time attending a webinar, this is a T7 math webinar. We're going to focus on word problems. My name's Brandon Kraft. I've been doing T's math stuff for well over a decade. And with that, through time, over the past 10 years, it's gone from T's 5, T's 6, and now we're in the T7. But something that has stayed constant through all these iterations of the T's are word problems on the math portion of the T's. So we're going to do some word problems tonight. If this is your first time attending a math webinar, let me know. Also, let me know, come in on the chat, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or Zoom. Let me know when your test date is. What's some of our upcoming test dates? All right, so we got some first timers in here over on Zoom. Just gonna peep on over at the other places. June 21st. Somebody's testing this Saturday. Somebody's testing tomorrow. All right, well, fantastic. So the way I do the math webinars is I put a problem up here on the screen. I let you all try it. I give you a little bit of time to try it. And when I say a little bit of time, on the math portion of the T7, I'm going to go ahead and skip right down to here real quick. On the math portion of the T7, you have 57 minutes to complete 38 questions. And if we take that, it's actually a math problem. If you take 57 minutes and you divide it by 38 questions, if we take 57 divided by 38, watch this. 57 divided by 38 is 1.5. So what you actually get is you actually get 1.5 minutes per question. 57 minutes broken up into 38 questions. On average, you get a minute and a half per question. And I say that because when I let you try problems tonight, I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds to try these problems. Now, tonight, again, our main thing here, let me slide this guy over. So our main thing here tonight is going to be word problems. Now, not every single goal and objective has word problems in it, but I'm going to show you some of the sections tonight that we will be doing problems from. We're going to do problems from 1.5, 1.6, 1.8, 1.9, and 2.1. So five sections, and I'm going to do some word problems from each of these to give you a little taste in the hour that we're together tonight. And should you wish to find more practice and all that good stuff, I do want to go ahead and share that with you. Take a screenshot of this if you're watching on your phone, if you're watching from a computer. Just take a snapshot. Go check out these QR codes. I mean, the main one is going to be this right here, Archer Tees, that one right there. So if you go to Google and you type in Archer Review T7, you'll find the same thing. But notice we do have a lot of free stuff. We have free webinars. We have a free demo. Try out our 2000 question, over 2000 question free demo. Uh, and with the free demo itself, you don't get all 2,000 questions. But in our full Q bank, there's over 2,000. We have on-demand videos. It covers every single lesson. Private tutoring, if you want one-on-one help, it's just like what these Zoom sessions are, except it'll be you and I, should you wish to get some tutoring with math. But we also have English, reading, and science as well. Now, I mentioned tutors. There's me, math, Shelly Harshberger. She is our science tutor, and she also does some webinars as well. And Amber's not a tutor up here, but Amber does some science webinars. And then Tammy Summerlin, she does our English and reading. So if this is your first time attending tonight, sign up for some other webinars and check out these ladies, what they have to offer as well. Now, Something else. Oh, okay. It's right up here on the screen. So, something I like to do, I do this personally. I know the ladies don't do it because I'm actually full time at Archer. So, I do like to give away a free tutoring session. How do you get it? You got to wait till the end. Once we're done tonight, I'll do a giveaway. Whoever the random person gets picked, you get a free hour of tutoring for math and math only. So it's offered from me. This is not Tammy and Shelly and Amber. You can book tutoring with Tammy and Shelly, but the free tutoring session comes with me. So, with all that said, are there any questions? Oh, here's some more up here too. Facebook and YouTube. We got some August test dates, July's. All right. So I'm ready to get started. Again, word problems tonight. And I did mention M.1.5, all of these through M.1.9. Word problems come from here, except for M.1.7. And then we're going to do 2.1 to finish up the night. So I'm going to start a timer. Here's our first question. Feel free to participate. If you want to submit your answer through the chat, by all means do so. Zoom, the chat is private. YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, the chat is public. And let's go ahead and get started. And we are back. So I do see some answers submitted over on Zoom. I see some B's. I had to refresh my restream, so I lost the chat there. It should come back in a second. But the correct answer is actually B. Now, this is a tricky problem though, and y'all, I'm not going to sit here. These problems are not identical to the TEAS test, but they're similar. Word problems involving multiple steps. It took multiple steps here. And the way I want to show you this one is I want us to read it and let's think about this visually. So, first of all, seven friends, they split a large pizza. So, I'm just going to take that pizza. Boom, there's the large pizza. One friend took 1/4. So, watch what I'm going to do here. Now, most of the time when you get pizza, they slice it across there and then they slice it across here. And you can slice it up even more, right? But for now, I'm just going to slice it up like this. So, what I've done is I've sliced this pizza into fourths, quarters, whatever you want to call it. But that's what 1/4 right here, that represents 1/4 of the pizza. So, one of those friends took that right there. Boom, that's all for them. The remaining friends divided what was left equally. What fraction of the entire pizza did each friend get? So, how many friends do we have left? The remaining friends, that's going to be six. So, six friends remain. Now, what are those six friends going to do? They're going to divide what is left equally. Now, y'all look at this. Look at what we have left here. You know, that yellow slice is gone. So what we have are these three big slices, but we want to take these three big slices and divide it equally amongst six people. Check this out. If I were to cut here, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the way through here, and you'll see why right here in a second. But if I were to do that, if I were to do that, now, again, the yellow is all about, we'll call that one friend number one. Friend number one was the hungry one. That's the one that got 1/4 of the pizza. But look, y'all, friend number two, friend number three, friend number four. And y'all see what I technically did here when I divided it like I did. I broke it up to where these three big slices, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got six equally sized slices out of these big ones. Look at these big ones right here. Boom. Y'all see that? So we got that big one, that big one, that big one. There's three of them, but we have to divide that amongst six people. So if we cut each one of these pieces like I did, they can divide this equally. But we're still not done because some of y'all are looking at this and being like, okay, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the answer should be C, but that's not correct. I know technically you probably see 7 slices up here, but when you talk about fractions of something, these fractions have to be equally sized. So if we look back, if we look at the slices, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all see where I'm going with this? 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 equally sized slices up here. So what each friend gets, if we look at one of these friends, what fraction of the entire pizza did each friend get? Look at one of these friends that wasn't that didn't get that big slice. So that friend right there is, they're not getting 1 out of 6. They're not getting 1 out of 7. That green slice represents 1 out of 8 equally sized slices. When you talk about fractions, you cannot break these fractions up into different sizes and say one of them is a seventh or a fourth. They all have to be equally sized. And if we go back to the friend that was hungry, let's go back to this friend that was hungry, y'all. And I understand. We broke this up into one big old yellow slice, right? But how many little slices make up this big slice? Do y'all agree that two of these smaller slices, two of those smaller slices out of the 8, 2 out of the 8, and the point I'm trying to show you here is that even though that friend got 1/4, when you look at it in terms of 8 slices, 2 out of 8 is still 1/4, y'all. I'm just trying to show you that even though we had the big yellow slice, when we chopped it up, everything into 8 equally sized slices, that friend who got 1/4, they technically got 2 out of 8, and it's the same daggone thing. It's still a fourth. So be careful with that. Whenever you talk about fractions, make sure you divide it up equally sized slices. A lot of people want to pick 1/7, but that's not correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you cannot call this 7 because that's not equally sized. And then a lot of students want to pick this one because they're like, well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you're not talking about the entire pizza anymore. If you said 1/6, that's not the entire pizza. So be careful with that as well. So that's a multi-step word problem. And it's actually one of those test taking strategies where sometimes drawing a picture can definitely help. Now, we don't have time to draw pictures on every single problem. So here is one from M.1.6, percentage word problems, minute and a half. Try it out. All right, our answer. So let's see what we have here. Are we still good? I'm gonna check one thing real quick. Good there, I believe. Yes. And I'm gonna check one more thing. There we go. I'm just making sure everything's still good over on the other socials. And yeah, we're good. Okay. All right. So the correct answer to here, I do see some various answers. Number two, the correct answer is going to be C. Now, if you picked A, you were on the right track, but we got to make sure we answer the question fully. So, first things first, this is a percentage word problem. Susan, she invested $1,200. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what this thing is called. This is called the principal, and I'm going to give it the letter P, principal. This 3.75% is the R, which represents your rate, and this 5 years represents time. And maybe you have seen this formula right here. I equals PRT. This is the formula that represents something called simple interest. Simple interest, what you do to find the simple interest, you take your starting amount, your P, that's called your principal. You multiply it by your rate, whatever percentage interest rate you get, and then you multiply that by your time. That's the three. Now, if you see that word simple interest, y'all, if you see simple interest or you see something mention interest on the T's, probably it's going to be PRT, principal times rate times time. And on the T's test, you do have on the calculator, on the T's, you do have a percent button. Now, my calculator over here, the button layout is identical. The colors are a little bit different, but it's worth mentioning the percent key on the T's is in the top left corner, just like that one. The square root button is in between the decimal and the plus. We will not use the square root button tonight, but it is used for like right triangles and some circles, but we won't use it tonight. We're not doing word problems with square roots. So let's take our principal, 1200. Let's multiply. And you can actually use the percent key. So I'm going to type in 3.75 and I'm going to press percent. Now my calculator is already spitting out something, but I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by the time of 5 years. You can use the percent key on the T's calculator. So let me slide this over into our notes and let's talk about what I did. Now, some of you may have used the decimal approach. Let me show you the decimal approach. Some of y'all may have taken $1,200 times 0.0375. This is the decimal representation of 3.75%. And if we come and multiply that by the time of 5, we get the same daggone answer. Y'all see that? So whether you want to use the percent key or convert the percent to a decimal, it don't make a hill of beans. You can use either one of them. But here's where you got to be careful. What this gives you is that I represents the interest. So this 225 is the interest that Susan earned. The question did not say how much interest will she earn in 5 years. Yeah, I know, and I'm being mean. I'm trying to make you read this very carefully. It says how much will she have. So she's still going to have the $1,200 that she invested plus that interest that she earned. And that's where we're getting that 1425 from. Now I'm going to go on and tell you there is a chance if you have a question, something like this, and if it says how much interest did she earn, then we would have picked 225. But again, I'm making sure you're reading that question very carefully. It is asking how much will she have. So we got to remember she's still got that 1,200 bucks, that principal. Any questions so far? Now, so what I want to show you real quick before we move on to the next question is I mentioned our 24-hour free demo. You can try it out. And what I want to show you, for example, look at this right here, M.1.6. So this is how ATI labels their goals and objectives. They call it M.1s, and for science, it's S.1s. And what's nice about it is this. If I go to the Q Bank, and by the way, there's 2,041 questions in all, and suppose I want to work specifically on this goal. M.1.6. So the first thing I would do is I would go into M.1. Math is broken up into two big goals or objectives, so to speak. So I would go into M.1, and I mean, you could mix it up. You can click on a bunch of these and mix it all up. But I would go into M.1, and if I want to focus specifically on M.1.6, I would check on that box. I'd create the test, and what it will pop up are some percentage word problems. Now, I can just go through here a couple of these. This one, I mean, these are, I'm not seeing a simple interest just yet, but look, this is a sales tax problem. That's percentage base. Is over of, yes, definitely tease worthy. The class, oh yeah. If y'all tune in every Friday, I gotta remember to tell y'all that. But my point here is this, y'all. You can break it up by goal, and you better believe you can go and do it with every single subject too: English, reading, math, and science. So if you do the 24-hour demo, you will not get over 2,000 questions then, but you at least get a taste of what it looks like. I'm just going to click a random answer, whether it's right or wrong. I do want to point out when you check your work on the QBank, you get a full explanation too. You just don't get an answer. You actually get a rationale behind it. And that's our question bank. So I would definitely encourage you to try out the 24-hour demo if nothing else. Now, moving on to another goal. Proportion word problems, M.1.8, minute and a half, try it out. Welcome back. So this third problem we've done here, this is M.1.8. Our correct answer, where did my little answer sheet go? Oh, it looks like it's going to be C yet again. So within this goal, proportion word problems, there is this three-letter word followed by something else that kind of indicates that you're going to use a proportion. Now, proportions, the way I like to tell students is if you're comparing two things, What do I mean by two things? You can be comparing boys and girls. You can be comparing red marbles and blue marbles. In this particular problem, we're comparing concentrate, this gardening solution. We're comparing concentrate to the gallons of water that we're mixing in. Think about it. Maybe you heard of Roundup before. You take if you use Roundup concentrate, it's what kills weeds. You use a little bit of Roundup, but a whole bunch of water, and then you go around and spray and you kill all the grass in your yard or whatever you're trying to get rid of. So that's what we have here. We're comparing two things, but also there's this word called how. How many? How many? And it could be how many boys, how many, in this case, it's how many gallons. It could say how many marbles. It could say how many pounds or how many milliliters. Proportions are very, very versatile. You can use it in a whole bunch of different problems. So, one way to do this, to use a proportion, what I notice is that it says they're going to use 5 ounces of concentrate and they're going to mix that in with 2 gallons of water. So, one way I can write this is I can say 5 ounces, and if I want to, I can put the 2 gallons at the bottom. Now, y'all, I understand 5 ounces is not equal to 2 gallons. But we're not doing a conversion here, y'all. We're not converting fluid ounces to gallons because these are two different things. That 5 ounces is the concentrate. That's that gardening solution. Whereas the 2 gallons is water. These are two completely different things, the concentrate and the water. But if I did my proportion like that, proportions, you do have an equals in between them. And now it says if a landscaper plans to use 60 ounces of the concentrate. If I put ounces over gallons over here, I'm going to put ounces over gallons over here. And I'll tell you what, let me just come in here and erase that. I'm just going to stick with my red. How many gallons? Now, some of you may have set up your proportion different. But at the end of the day, if I throw away these words are only here to help me keep things lined up. I want you to notice I put ounces at the top, gallons at the bottom. Some of y'all may have set it up different, but when we all cross, multiply, and divide, granted we set it up correctly, we're going to cross multiply the 2 times the 60. We're going to divide by the 5. And here's what I always tell students. You always divide by the number that's getting crossed with the variable. That 5 is getting crossed with that x. Whatever that number may be, that's the number you always divide by. And check out how we can do this all at once. I'm going to multiply those two. I'm not even going to press equals. Multiply them, immediately press divide. Let's divide by 5, and I'm pressing equals one time. Now, some of you may have done it different, but I'm trying to show you like a universal way where you're not sitting there second guessing yourself of should I be multiplying by this number? Should I be dividing by this number? However, I want to show you something kind of neat. Maybe a way you didn't see it, but I bet some of y'all did because some of y'all popped in answers like within 10 seconds or 20 seconds after me putting the question up here. So I'm guessing some of y'all may have done it slightly different. And here's what I want y'all to realize. Do y'all notice? And I don't be expected to do this on the TEAS test. I'm just showing you kind of something neat behind the scenes. Do y'all notice that the 5 ounces versus the 60 ounces? Did y'all notice that the 60 is 12 times as much? So 5 ounces, we need 12 times as much. That landscaper needs 12 times as much. So guess what? If they need 12 times as much of the concentrate, they're going to need 12 times as many gallons. Ooh, do y'all see that? 2 times 12 is 24, same answer. Yes, that is what a proportion is. When they share what's called a common ratio. Now you might say, man, I'm gonna, and if you saw that, don't try to look for that every time because had this 60 been, say, 62, I don't know what that's gonna be off the top of my head. But when I saw 60, I was like, well, hang on a second. That 60 is 12 times as much as this, so I'm gonna need 12 times that amount. Just a random little fact there. Proportions are still your best friend. Look for two things: boys and girls, red marbles, blue marbles, ounces and gallons, pounds and kilograms. I mean, any two things that are getting compared, and then look for that word right there: how. How much, how many, how. It's probably going to be a proportion. So that's M.1.8. And I do see a question over on Zoom. So this webinar, you can go back and rewatch this on our Facebook page. I'm gonna pop the link up here. It stays active on Facebook, I think, for around 30 days, and then Facebook removes it. I'm gonna pop this over in Zoom and also over in YouTube and Facebook. Facebook page. All right. So YouTube, Facebook, I just popped the link over there. And then in Zoom, this is our Facebook page. This is not our Facebook group. There's a difference between a page and a group. But anyway, this is where you can go back and watch the webinar within like a month. So I did have another student that said, hey, I set mine up different and 100%. So look, let me just kind of point that out. Maybe you didn't do 5/2. Maybe you wanted to say five. Let me just come here and change my color. Maybe you wanted to say 5 ounces and you might have said 2 gallons. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just that what you're doing different. Over here, we put ounces at the top, gallons at the bottom. Now we have ounces on the left and gallons on the right. So just if you choose to set it up like this, absolutely nothing wrong with this. But since we got ounces on the left and gallons on the right, it would be 60 ounces on there. And then we would try to figure out how many gallons. So yes, it looks a little bit different, but it's still about matching up. Either you're matching up the tops and the bottoms, or you're matching up the lefts and the rights. Now, I do see a student on Facebook. If you're having trouble getting into the Zoom, I mean, you can get the exact same experience right here on Facebook. What you can do I don't know if you signed up for it. Maybe that's why. If you didn't sign up, that's probably why you can't get into the Zoom session, but it is the same experience. It's just a little bit of a lag streaming versus like in Zoom, it's real time. But other than that, it's the same experience. So now, let's move on to we got what, two problems left. This is good timing. M.1.9 ratios and rates of change word problems. And let's do a minute and a half on this. Go ahead and give it a shot. Welcome back. This is a ratio problem. Let's see what answers we have here. I see A's, I see some B's, I see C's and D's. So we got some of all four answer choices here. Now we got to be careful with how this problem's worded. In a class of 30 students, 18 are boys, and maybe you pick up on by me like verbally reading out in a class of 30 students, 18 are boys. What is the ratio of girls to boys? Well, right now, we don't have the number of girls shown to us. But if we take the 30 students and we subtract the 18 boys, we will definitely get the number of girls, 12 girls. We need that because our ratio needs to be girls to boys. That is a way that you can write what's called a ratio. A ratio has a colon, and that represents the word to, or you can see a ratio written as a fraction where the order is important. Girls to boys, girls has to come first, or the girls needs to be the numerator in the fraction. Must. Order is crucial. And the reason I mentioned the fraction, let's look at girls over boys. So girls is 12, boys is 18, and I don't see 12 to 18 over here, you know? Well, we can simplify, but I'm going to show you some calculator shortcuts. Hang tight. I'm definitely going to show you that too. How can we simplify this? We can divide by 2 if we wanted to because they're both even. We could divide by 3. 12 is divisible by 3. 18 is divisible by 3. But guess what? I'm going to go ahead and divide by the greatest common factor, which is 6. And I'm only doing that just to save a little bit of time and just show you the freedom of simplifying fractions. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So that ratio is 2 to 3. This means for every 2 girls in that class, there are 3 boys. That's what this ratio means. For every 2 girls, there are 3 boys. So our answer is D. Had you mixed up the boys with, see, look, this is the ratio of boys to girls. Order is important. If you picked A or C, you were using the 30 and the 18. But the 30 is the students. That's the total number of students. That does not tell us the number of girls. So the 30 does not need to be used in that ratio at all because that's the total number of students. Now, a couple of fun facts here. If you don't feel like simplifying fractions, technically you don't have to. Watch this. You can take that 12 over 18 and you can convert that fraction to a decimal to get zero point 0.6 repeated. So what I did there is I just divided 12 divided by 18, you get zero point 0.6 repeated. And then you can go down your answer choices and you can do 3 divided by 5, 3 divided by 2, 5 divided by 3. I promise you this is going to be the only one that works right here. Look at what happens if I divide 2 by 3. We get the same answer. So this is a way that you can avoid having to worry about simplifying fractions sometimes. Just convert your fractions to decimals and see if they are the same. All right. So, before moving on, a couple of questions. In the previous example, a student mentioned dimensional analysis. Absolutely, you can do dimensional analysis. And if you got 24, rock and roll. Then a student's asking about other live sessions, like a geometry one. I did a geometry one, I think a month and a half ago. We already have webinars on the schedule, but we're scheduled through July, and I don't have a geometry one coming up until not the student. I know you're testing June 30th. I'm pretty sure my next math webinar is not going to be before then. But I do have two scheduled in July. But what you can also do, y'all can, if you want to do a private tutoring session or hang out to the end, hang out to the end. You may get lucky. You may be the winner of the free tutoring session, and we can, get that, do that geometry or whatever else y'all need to do. Now, here's another little fun fact coming back to this one. Check this out. It's just a random thing I want you to see. You may find it's neat, you may not, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So, what did I say 2 to 3 meant? 2 to 3 meant. What did that mean, y'all? That 2 to 3 means for every two girls, there are three boys. For every two girls, there are three boys. That's what that ratio represents. Now, if I take that, again, y'all see that? Two girls to three boys. If I take this, how many students is that right there, y'all? How many students is that? That's only 5 students. How many students do we have now? Five, 10. How many students do we have now? 5, 10, 15, 20. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Do y'all see where I'm going with this? One more time. Do we have 30 students now? If you look at this based on that ratio, for every two girls, we have three boys. I'm just trying to show y'all how it really works out. We have 30 students in all now. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And if y'all look, for every two girls, I have three boys. But not only that, what do y'all notice? Boys, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 boys. It's matching back up. 30 students in all, 18 boys. There's the 12 girls. And all I'm showing you here is the true thing that's lying behind this ratio, what that really means. You don't have to know that for the TEAS, but again, just kind of like letting you make some comparisons. I think that's kind of important as long as it's not too crazy when it comes to the learning process to really see what does it mean. That's what that ratio of 2 to 3 means. So that calculator way again, what I did without having to simplify, you can cut that step out right there. Students asking about that. Grab your calculator and take 12 divided by 18. And I promise you, you'll get the same decimal if you take 2 divided by 3. Now, we do not use that 30. No, the only time you use that 30 is when to figure out the number of girls. That's the only time that 30 gets used in that problem. All right. So now, what have we done tonight? What have I? So we're doing 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 8, 1, 9, 2.1. Something to show you here before we move on to our last problem, and then we're going to do that giveaway. Check this out right here. You can also explore this in our 24-hour demo as well. I know I've already showed you the question bank. I've showed you how you can really focus in on each specific goal, but then also in our demo, I would encourage you to check out the on-demand videos. So you get a sample of that in our 24-hour demo too. If I come over here to math, for example, and I've already mentioned that math is broken up into M.1 and M.2. And let's just look at M.1.9. I mean, if I scroll down here and let's see, let me just zoom out. Look at that. M.1.9. And what do you notice? What do you notice here, y'all? What is a ratio? What is a rate? Proportions. Ooh, boys to girls. I mentioned order is important. Miles per hour, miles per hour again. I do two different miles per hour problems, average rate of change. So, what you get with the on demand videos, in this particular one, it's almost a 30-minute video, but what we do is we break it up into chunks so you can really jump to the part that you want to get help with. And yes, it works the same way with English, reading, and science too. And I just wanted to mention those two things tonight, the question bank, break it up by topic. on demand videos. You get little bite sized videos to help you with all these various topics. And with that said, we're going to go into 2.1. We're going to do a word problem. Tonight, I decided to do a circle graph, and I already have over here that it's challenging. And I've been watching some of y'all over in Zoom. There's a couple of you who've been getting every single problem right. This is a challenging one right here, probably the toughest one of the night. I'll give you a minute and a half. Go ahead and give it a shot. All right, here we go. Last one of the night. A circle graph problem, tables, charts, and graphs. M dot 2.1. There's definitely other types of graphs other than just circle graphs. This is what I decided to do tonight. So we have a family. They spend $3,750 on food in a month. That must be the Brady Bunch or something. It's a bunch. That's a lot of money on food, a lot of people. So if a family spends 3750 on food in a month, how much do they spend on entertainment? Here's what makes this challenging, and honestly, it kind of circles back to a multi-step. Whoops, my tablet's about to die. It honestly circles back to M.1.5, not the pizza problem. Ironically, that is food, but M.1.5, multiple steps. This is going to be a two-step problem. And the way I want to show you this, there's this thing called part over whole equals percent out of 100. And here's one way that you can do it. So what we know is that the 3750, that's what they spend on food. That is a part of their budget. That is not their whole budget, right? That's a part, a portion. So I'm going to plug that 3750 into the part. I'm going to go ahead and put my 100 down over here. And here's what else do we know of? Here's what you can't do, y'all. Y'all cannot put the part 3750 and you cannot put entertainment in. You can't put two parts into this thing. That's what makes it multi-step. I'm using this part, and what I'm going to do is what do we know about this 3750? We know it's food, and we know that food is 30%. I'm going to put that 30 out of 100 because we know that $3,750 out of something, out of the whole, is going to be 30%, 30 out of 100. But here's the deal, y'all. When you solve this, you are going to be solving for the whole. This is just the first step to our problem. And I want to tie back in proportions. Oh, y'all, look. M.1.8, proportions. We're doing proportions now. So cross multiply and divide. We're going to be finding the whole here, but that's not going to be the answer to our question. If we cross multiply, we're going to take 3,750. We're going to multiply that by 100, and then we're going to immediately divide by 30. And what we get here is 12,500 bucks. How does this help us? How does this help us? This is just step number one. Step number one. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. So I used the food, which is the part, and I know that that part is 30%. So I wrote 30 out of 100. I use that to find the whole. Now for our second step. How much do they spend on entertainment? I don't know. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to figure out what's the part out of this hole that we found. When we found the hole to be $12,500, we're trying to figure out how much out of their whole budget represents entertainment. Well, what do we know about entertainment? Entertainment is 13%. Don't put that 13 up here. It's not the part. The 13% goes 13 over 100. So again, we use the part to find the whole. Then we're going to use that whole to find another part. And now we can solve this thing. We can take the 12,500, we can multiply it by 13, and we can immediately oops, I multiplied by the wrong number. 12,500 times 13, immediately divide by 100. So what we get here is 1,625 bucks. This is our final answer. That's how much they spend on entertainment. Now, good news, probably if you have a circle graph, probably you're not going to have to do two separate steps. But other news, if you have a circle graph, you're probably going to have to do something like that. So at least practice part over whole equals percent over 100, if nothing else. Again, you're probably not going to have two separate steps, though. I just want to point that out. Any questions about that? Now, student says, well, what about converting percents to decimals? Here's the deal. By definition, 30% or any percent, by definition, a percent is always out of 100. So when we say 30%, y'all, when we say 30%, that means 30 out of 100. So this fraction right here, y'all, is 30%. It's just that we're using the fraction representation. And what the student was asking about is, do we have to convert it to decimal? No, because if you convert it to decimal, you're going to lose this out of 100. But watch. Take 30 and divide it by 100. Let's just do it. Take 30, divide by 100. There's your decimal representation of 30%. You don't need that for this problem, but it is kind of cool just to go ahead and show you, hey, especially as we're coming to a close tonight, if I go back here, what I literally just showed you right then was fractions, decimals, and percents. The very first goal, M.1.1, that is what you will do. If you go into our Q bank or if you watch the videos, you will be jumping back and forth between fractions, decimals, and percents. All right, very good. So here's what we're going to do. I need you all, I'm going to pop this link. If you want to have a chance to get a free, hang on, timeout. Student said, where did the 13 come from? Okay, the 13, since we are interested in entertainment, and I know it's small, especially over on Instagram. I get it. Boom. That 13 is 13 out of 100. That's where that came from. Now, for the giveaway, I'm gonna pop this link over in. Now, if you're on Instagram, I think you just kind of got to type it in or scan it with your QR code. But I'm gonna pop this link, or you can scan it with the if you have your phone on you. Boom. All right, there's the link over on Facebook and YouTube. This is how once you do that survey, you'll put in your email address. Use the same email address that you used when you created your Archer review account. If you have not created an Archer review account, you can do it for free 00. But that's how I will be able to get IT our tech team to actually give you the free credits for the tutoring session. So I'll give you all a little bit of time to do that. I'll put a little timer up here. Let's do a minute and a half. Why not? Very short survey. This is how you can get the free tutoring session. Do that, and I'll be right back. All right, I'll give you all just a little bit more time to get that survey done. The student said, okay, so that's you can type in that URL or you can I've shared the URL also over in the chat. It looks like some of y'all can't click on it. Let me put the little HTTPS in front of it. There you go. Try that. See if that works. Because I think some of y'all are having an issue opening the link, and that depends on what device you're on. So let me hop over to Zoom as well and pop that in. See if y'all can click on that link. I know some of y'all are saying you couldn't click on it. I just threw the HTTPS in front of it. they're starting to come in now. I know, yeah, some of y'all it did work. Perfect. Sorry for the delay. I just want to make it fair. All right, so as a few more people just get in, and I definitely see the results coming in now, the survey. So thank you all for that. But just to kind of break things down a little bit more, or not break things down, but what's coming ahead in July? I'll be doing two webinars. It's going to be, I don't think I'm doing any more in June. I can't remember because there's so much stuff going on in the summer. I don't think I have any more math webinars in June. I could be wrong. But with that, I mean, if you go over to our website, you can check out our upcoming webinars or head over to our YouTube channel, head over to our website, head over to our Facebook page, whichever one you follow, or you can right there. You can do that QR code, or you can, let me actually pop that one into the chat so y'all can register for that. There's that link. That way y'all can see what's coming up in the future. I know June's are showing up and we got July's. It just depends. I know all of them don't show at once. But anyway, let's do this. I'm going to take all these names of people who submitted surveys. Again, thank you all for that. I'm going to copy and paste. Got about what, 20? No, not 20. But anyway, I'm going to copy and paste these. Give me a second to pick a winner. And I'm going to announce the winner based on the email address. So what you'll have to do, and I'm going to go over this in a second. Let's see. All right. Winner tonight, Jay Hutch. Jay Hutch. If you recognize that email address, here's what you got to do. Here's how you win, or here's how you claim it. Use that email address, the email address, J Hutch, and you know the rest of it. Email pre-nursing at archerreview.com. Actually, I tell you what, go ahead and email me. And by the way, if any of y'all have any questions for me, just email me right here. Brandon.craft. Email me from your email address and it'll take maybe like a day or two for them to issue the free credits, and then you can book a free tutoring session. But where is that person at? Let's see here. Trying to see whether they're in Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know, but hopefully you do hear that, Jay Hutch. So I'll hang out for a minute. You all have a great weekend. I'll be seeing you all either later on this month. I think my next one is in July, though. Y'all take care. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good night.